Priggya, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hi, everyone who have joined us. Welcome to Innovators Corner. And today, Shalini and I will start with disruption. In the meanwhile, you can put your queries in the chat box and we'll be happy to answer them one by one. So, Shalini, let's begin by what is disruption according to you, because it has so many varied definitions and everybody thinks different. Disruption in a certain way. So, what, according to you, is disruptive technology or disruption?
Priggya, when I come across any term, my first go-to is the dictionary.
Yeah.
So, so as usual, I ran to the dictionary, and disruption is defined as some interrupting something, a process or a system or an event that is already in place to cause a disturbance in something.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, yes, but then me merely interrupting you while you're speaking, would that be a disruption?
I don't think so.
Okay, your turn.
So, Shalini, according to me, disruption means we are creating a kind of new market for new customers, and it kind of eliminate the older products, or it acquires a market share to the extent that older products, they keep losing their market share. For example, let's take example of Uber and try to see whether it has disrupted the market or not, or any technology similar to Uber.
Let's start with
So
Uber.
yeah, let's start with Uber. So I think what Uber has done was, there was a need in the market which people were not solving at a bigger extent. Like, if I want to book a taxi at my location, prior to Uber or prior to any of these cab services like Ola, Uber, or any other competitor, what the best solution I had a solution of probably calling someone to pick me up, or there were telephone cab services at that time which were available, but they were not very fast. We could not track their location, whether they are actually coming. Then we had a problem of location and everything. So I think what they have done is, they have catered a new market. They have addressed a need which was existing, but nobody was able to probably cater that need. So I think that, so catering a need which exists is kind of this disruptive innovation for me.
Okay. For me, it is transforming expensive products or services or something that is highly sophisticated and out of the reach of
Yeah.
the lower strata. I think, or something that was previously accessible only to the elite or to the high
Yeah.
end paying customers, to make it affordable and accessible to a larger population. I think this transformation for me is disruption.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
or something that did not exist before and some new thing has come into the market, like the internet. When it
Yeah.
came in, that it totally disrupted lives, I think, more than any other industry. Of course, it changed all the industries, but it also transformed lives. But I think for me, the best example that I remember is Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon, before it became the marketplace that it is, used to be a bookshop, online bookshop.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was inconceivable that why would people go to an online bookshop. But I was, those days, Amazon.com from the US, that Amazon.in wasn't there. Amazon.com used to ship to anywhere in the world. I have shipped books
Yeah.
to remote corners of Kerala from the US. And I think I was one of the earlier customers of Amazon.com, because for me it was, I could send whatever books I wanted to my dad in the village. But I think that's it. But disruptive technology, I think also, as most businesses of course want to be profitable, so they try to go from one level to the next level of customers, of paying customers, so mid level paying customers to a higher, more profitable level, so that lower end population is now not being served anymore. their needs are not being met. So I think disruptive innovators come in at that point.
Yeah, and I think very rightly said. So I think accessibility is one factor, and other factor is cost. Like we are tremendously decreasing the cost. So these two, I think, would be the main factors when we discuss about disruption. And one more thing, very interesting. I read something. Regarding definition of innovation. So according to that innovation definition, what the author was saying, that disruption does not exist only in technology, it can also exist in commercialization aspect of a technology.
Okay.
For example, apple products, the technology is fine, but the kind they market it, they produce it to the customers, that again is a kind of disruption that uh, probably companies like Apple do. So they also think about commercialization aspect of technology in a larger sense.
Yes, I think how you package your product, and you want to make it, either you want to make it very luxurious,
Yeah,
like Macs are, or you want to make it something that is more accessible to people. So how we went from magnetic tapes to CDs
correct.
to MP3s, and the whole avatar of music has now changed since then. So you're right, commercialization also matters.
And from MP3, I came. I just something popped into mind. Like these days, we have OTT platforms, and initially we used to have DD, just one DD national when we were kids, and then how this television industry as a whole disrupted, and now see OTT platforms. We are free to see anything, anytime, whatever we want to see, and a lot
Without
of power.
commercials.
Yeah, without commercial, a lot of power is in the hand of the customer and the consumer, whatever they want to consume. Unlike television, where we have set pattern which comes on television and things like that.
Yeah, in those days it was inconceivable that you could choose what you want to see. There was
Yeah.
like twice a week there used to be Chitrahar and Chayagit, and that's it, nothing else. Maybe one or two serials. But I'll tell you one thing again. One of the things that bothers me is how we have started using disruption in terms of any innovation just to
Yeah.
make it sound cool.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that? What should be the benchmark before someone can say my innovation is disruptive?
For me, it's like, firstly, the first question that should come up in my mind is probably this is not possible, what you are saying. Because at the end, it is creating a new market, and that point should come up in my market. Like, at the time of DD National, if someone had told me that, you'll have this OTT platform where you can choose, I would ask you, is this even possible? How you are going to do it? So that how part is very very important, how a customer does it. And another thing is, I'll have a look at the market, whether they're actually disrupting a market, they're creating a new market for themselves, or what they're doing is just there is enhancement of a product which is already existing. So if that is an enhancement, I'll not consider it as a disruption unless it is considered coming up with a new market as a whole, so that customers are also like, we want to buy it, or we want to probably experience it. Like for example, we have these VR sets like Oculus 2, Oculus 3, Oculus. So there is some itch in the mind of consumer that I want to experience that thing, I haven't seen something like that before. So I
Right.
think if that wow factor is there in the technology, it is a disruptive technology.
Well, do you remember pagers had come and they were in between
Yeah.
your
Yes,
regular
yes,
phones
yes.
and cell phones? There was a short gap when people could have had pagers.
Yes.
And for me, I was very fascinated. I saw one person exactly, apart from hospitals and doctors and all, I saw one person exactly carrying a pager in my building. And I stopped him and asked him, let me see it. And I think that was the earliest I can remember of seeing something disruptive, that you can send someone a message
Yeah.
without resorting to a dial up phone. But I think we have a couple of questions here.
Yes, and I want to welcome Sambhav and Mukesh. So thank you, Sambhav and Mukesh, for joining and putting up your comments in the chat box. So Sambhav has a question: can disruption mean amalgamation of different industries and products? So your take on that, Shalini?
I think yes. I think having discussed disruption with you, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah,
Uh, but to come up with an example, I think I would say that having, like we were talking about television and OTT, I think a combination of video and audio together, that is, you have LED and LCDs and these thin screen TVs, but you also have their sound has incredibly improved. You're no longer stuck with that mono sound. You have stereo and all sorts of effects on it. So yes, it can definitely increase, or anything. Or if you want to take your Ola and Uber example, where we have GPS tracking, which also was a disruptor. GPS tracking, which was also a disruptor, as well as the availability of the flexibility of calling a cab
yeah.
and at your convenience. So yes, I hope I did justice to that question.
Yes, I think very rightly said. It is See, if we look at it technology wise, it is definitely amalgamation of different technologies, because it's very difficult to come up with something which, a technology wise which does not exist in the world.
True.
So there could be some amalgamation of different technologies together, but disruption from the point of view of market, we'll have to see whether it is actually disrupting the market or not. Like, where are the customer, what would it get, what problem it is solving. I think that problem solving side is also important to check.
So maybe what is disruptive in one area may not be disruptive in another,
Yeah,
even though
definitely.
it's new in one area, but it's already tried and tested. Like Bluetooth speakers, for example.
Correct.
We use Bluetooth for speaking, but having it play in the car, one of it is disruptive and one of it is not. One of it is
Yeah.
just a logical extension.
Yes, 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 definitely. I think it's a very interesting topic, especially in new days technology. What are we doing? What is crypto doing? It is changing existing ways of doing transactions to
Yeah,
something where banks would not exist. Like, the whole aim of future crypto technology is bank should not exist. So if bank does not exist, I don't know whether this will happen or not, but if bank does not exist, then it would be completely new uh, environment which is set up and where we live.
absolutely, absolutely. So I had a question and now it slipped my mind, but
Yeah.
uh, but let's keep talking. It'll come back to me. Okay, yeah, I remember. Would you classify this following example as a disruption? I have, let's say, a very fancy sweet shop which is very popular, and they sell at a particular price point. Now, I open a smaller, much smaller sweet shop next to it, selling very similar goods at one fifth the price,
One
but
for
I bring it to the table, which they
yeah.
don't. Would they have self service? Would you qualify me as a disruptor?
Again, I am very market focused. So I'll try to see whether I'm creating a new market or not. Like you said, that this was not available to general public before, and this is now available to general public because the price is one fifth. So I might have done something with my processes, maybe something with my commercialization strategy, some things with my sales strategy, which the other companies are not doing. So if I'm bringing that on the table and I'm able to serve a massive audience which nobody was able to do before, then I'll definitely call it a disruption. Maybe not disruptive technology, because I don't know how much technology would be involved in the business of sweet shop, but definitely disruption.
But we can have non technological
Innovation.
innovation.
Yeah,
So,
disruptive innovation, definitely.
okay. And my next question is, do you count EVs as disruptors,
Oh,
disruptive innovation?
EVs. I think I would definitely do it because there is a market, there is a problem which is not being solved, and people are there, people want, but I will call this as disruption, but I'll consider as it is still not addressed. It's we need something massive in the field of EV so that it is there with consumers. Like consumers are not probably open. There is no company which is able to then like dart.
Flood the market.
Yeah, it's not able to hit to the right point so that it disrupts the market and everybody transforms from older vehicles to EVs.
Right.
The day that happens, I call it as disruptive technology, definitely, and I'm waiting for that day.
What about alternate sources of energy? Would those be disruptors?
Anything which is able to hit the target
So
audience,
for you, it's marketability.
its marketability, it's able to cater the need of general public at a very massive level and something in a new form. What are your answers, Shalini, for this EVs and alternate sources of energy?
I honestly don't think that EVs are going to be, that very, very short-term stopgap between
Yeah.
burning precious fossil fuels to something better. And and it's just going to be like a halt in the journey. It's not the end. So EVs are not going to be for us what your internet was, or your MP3s were. They're going to be the CDs of fuels.
Yeah, that's why I said that if it's not massively there, it's not a disruption.
Because now we are already moving on to hydrogen as a fuel.
Yeah.
And hydrogen, it's available in plenty, and we can also get it from water. And there are so many ways of extracting hydrogen, that I think the next big thing is going to be hydrogen as a fuel rather than EVs flooding the
EV.
market.
Yeah. So we have a question from Sambha. Would you consider metaverse as disruptive innovation which provides virtual ability for people to live like they want? What's your take on this?
I haven't really subscribed to the metaverse universe yet. I think I'm still trying to see what it is all about. But having said that, would um, I was going to put in a question, but then I answered that question myself in my head. I was going to ask a disruptive innovation in entertainment, but then we've already discussed enough of that.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm qualified enough to give an answer on this. I don't know enough about what metaverse is doing. I just
Okay.
know a little bit about it. So maybe you can shed some light.
Yeah, metaverse is very close to me because I am a tech geek, so I love metaverse and things like that. So what I my stand on this is metaverse is just definitely a disruptive innovation. It will change the kind by which people do businesses. It will change the kind by people exercise, by people play games, anything and everything. Because with Oculus, what happens? We have a virtual a headset. Then we have some sensors that we can wear it on our hands. We can do boxing, we can play any game. If I want to do a meeting with Shalini, thinking that I and Shalini are sitting together around a coffee table, she is also wearing a headset, I am also, I'll feel that I'm sitting with Shalini right there.
Okay.
So for me, it's next level disruption. I totally agree that it is disruption because I think that technology is going to change. Like we have smartphones. Smartphones disrupted, and everything we do is now on smartphone phones.
Absolutely.
With metaverse and Web3, I think future maybe in 5 7 years would be we'll just if I want to speak to Shalini, I'll wear a specs. It would be as thin as specs because people are already doing that kind of innovation,
Right.
and I'll just wear that specs and I'll, okay, Shalini, let's go live on LinkedIn. So yeah, if that happens, then definitely it's disruption. People are playing games, people are earning money, people are doing I don't know what on metaverse.
Right. So I need to get onto that
Definitely.
bandwagon soon.
Let's go together and let's take a time.
Sure.
target by October, let's do our innovative corner in awards.
Done, done.
So we have something
Anyone
from
who's
Mohit as well.
watching this, sorry, anyone who's watching this, please attend our metaverse session.
So Mohit says Tata is changing all its previous models to EV. That could change the climate, especially since Tata caters to the middle class of India. Yeah, Mohit, I think that's what I said. That if we are able to penetrate the market at a greater level, that would be disruptive. But till the time we are not doing, because I don't think EVs currently are doing, though we have a lot of policy, with this budget it came, uh, policies came like there would be exchangeable batteries and things like that. We are trying to cause a disruption in that area, but still I think we are
In in
waiting for
Goa, in Goa, two-wheelers have there are a lot of two-wheeler EVs that are there.
disruption.
But with respect to four-wheelers, I think it is still out of the budget of many people. I think the least expensive EV that I know of, other than Reva, which is no longer there on the roads,
Hmm.
is it's still above 9 to 10 lakhs.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
still not in the range of the middle class of everybody.
And accessibility wise also, it's not longer that we can use. We have limits, we don't have installation wise, there is a lot of problem. So till the time everything is taken care of, we can't say that that is disruptive. We
Yeah.
really have to penetrate the market and bring it to massive customers.
It should be like how internet or Amazon
Yeah,
has done. Like everybody is like, I'll just go on to Amazon. I'll
correct.
just go on to the internet. I'll just go step out in my EV.
Yeah, you order food, Zomato, Swiggy. Now we have Blinklist, 10 minutes delivery.
Yeah, so all of those cannot claim the disruptor
Yeah,
tag. Okay, I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
yeah,
only goes to
definitely.
the first Zomato and Swiggy.
Definitely. So I think that's all. Shalini, would you like to add
There's,
something?
there's one more question here.
Oh,
Is it possible from Sambhav? Is it possible that disruptive innovation may not have a commercial aspect at all, or is its primary motivation commercial viability? Priggya, you want to take it?
definitely. I think commercial, for me, innovation is always associated with the commercial aspect. If you're not doing innovation, the definition I read, and it was, I think, from Stanford course of on innovation. It says innovation is equal to invention into commercialization. So if your commercialization is zero, your innovation is zero. If your invention is zero, your innovation is again zero. If you have certain level of invention, certain level of commercialization, the multiplication of that would be innovation. So till the time anything which cannot be commercialized, I think there is no point of making that thing, because then you will not be able to serve the public or provide it to the. So not providing anything to the public, what are you doing? Your own use. So I don't think, that is my take and my thought process behind commercial aspect, because I think any technology should have a commercial aspect if that is developed.
I
What is
100%, I 100% agree with Priggya. It whenever we talk, if you look at any kind of journal publication or textbook that talks about innovation and disruptive innovations or disruptive economy or whatever the term, wherever this term disruption comes in hand to hand in hand with innovations, they always talk about the market. You cannot talk about either of them in isolation. I mean, you can
yes,
talk about market without disruption, but you can't talk of disruption without the market, because the whole idea is to make something that heretofore belonged only to the elite. You're making it affordable and making it accessible to everyone. So
yeah.
there has to be commercial viability has to be its primary motivation. Otherwise, I don't think it counts as disruptive innovation.
Yeah, definitely. So I think two important points are the cost and the accessibility. So,
Yes.
and both of us agree on that.
So, what do you have any it's for innovators who are still working on something. What would you suggest? What would you have words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom. For me, it would be focus on consumers. Know what your consumer wants, what is the problem of the consumer, and how you can solve it. If you are able to address a problem and come up with a solution, then you are doing good innovation. But if that problem solution is not there, I don't think like being an inventor or being someone, even startups, you have to address a problem which your consumer is facing. And if you are not able to locate a problem, ask your consumers what is your problem. Like we
Yes.
and I and Shalini are doing, asking people like what do you want to hear from us.
Absolutely. I think one of the, if you are still in the ideation phase, you should be talking, looking around, observing, just taking walks or talking to people, taking surveys to find out what it is that is lacking in your life or what it is that could be better. That,
Correct.
and if that matches your skill set, then bingo, you've hit your innovation technology area. Like for me, it was I will count patented network as an innovation, as a disruptive innovation, because talking to countless patent holders and patent attorneys, I realized that we don't have access to commercialization. We are not addressing that. We are not talking about that. So commercialization of and now I'm talking of now meta level commercialization of commercializable inventions.
Yeah.
So yes, you have to keep your eyes and ears open to know
Yeah.
what it is that people are looking for.
Definitely. So I think know your consumers and address the problem of a consumer, and you can never fail if you do that.
That's true.
Yes. So Shalini, let's wind up the session. It's already been half an hour. so
So quickly,
so quickly, any last take,
I think
any
this was
last
an
word?
interesting chat with lot of interesting questions.
Yeah, I also felt thank you Sambhav and thank you Mohit and thank you Mukesh for asking questions and taking part in the discussion. All the best everybody. See you next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m.
See you.
Take
Be ready with
care.
your questions.
Yeah.
See you, Prigya.